Welcome to VERDO Studio, where stories bloom in the quiet corners of the garden, and old stone walls come alive, not with words, but with leaves, textures, and the soft breath of shade. In today's journey, we won't chase grand landscapes or sweeping hillsides. We'll stay close, gentle, grounded. Together, we'll explore how even a humble wall, kissed only by dappled light, can become a vertical tapestry of life. Here, in the stillness of shaded spaces, plants with quiet beauty take root. Each species we share has been carefully chosen, not just for how it looks, but for how it feels, how it softens structure, deepens shadow, and turns forgotten spaces into small sanctuaries. We believe that design isn't about perfection, it's about presence, about building something with your own hands, from what's already around you: stone, wood, water, and a little patience. And we want you to know, this content was thoughtfully crafted using the help of artificial intelligence, a tool we use to shape ideas into forms that feel real, natural, and full of warmth. But nothing replaces your own touch, your garden, your choices, your light. So if this space feels like somewhere you'd like to return to, if you find comfort in the rustle of leaves and quiet design, we invite you to stay a while, to grow with us, and if you wish, gently tap subscribe, so you won't miss the next breath of inspiration. Here at VERDO Studio, where the garden always has a story to tell. Sayap digunakan sebagai intro video yang tenong dan mendalam. Bila kamu ingin versi bahasa Indonesia atau versi untuk outro juga, tinggal beritahu saja. In the quiet corners where sunlight never lingers, the toad lily begins its quiet spectacle. Nestled within a wall of old stone, softened by moss and years of rain, this plant holds a secret, a bloom unlike any other in the shaded garden world. Its petals are dappled like tiny constellations, purple freckles on cream or white, emerging delicately as summer fades. It is a plant that rewards patience and quiet attention. Toad lilies thrive when many others retreat. As other blossoms tire of the season, this resilient beauty stands upright, unfurling in the choler whispers of early autumn. Its love for moisture and shade makes it a perfect companion for stone walls that hold coolness within their bones. Tree planting them near eye level, so each flower, small yet intricate, can be admired like a hand-painted detail. Wall-mounted wooden chrates or clay pots work beautifully. Pair them with trailing ferns or ground-hugging lamium to build depth and contrast in your vertical design. They ask for little, consistent moisture, rich soil, and dappled light. And in return, they offer a bloom that feels quietly exotic, a whisper of wild elegance in an otherwise muted space. This is not a loud flower. It won't shout or sprawl, but it will make your garden feel deeply personal, like a secret only you and nature share. In a world of fast colors and loud blooms, the toad lily is a plum preset into the stones. Let it surprise you. Let it teach you that the most beautiful things often arrive last and linger long in memory. Some gardens don't need flowers to feel alive. They need texture, softness, a rhythm like breath. And ferns, ancient and quietly elegant, offer just that. Imagine an old stone wall darkened by time and moisture. Now picture it dressed in fronds, arching, overlapping, soft as feathers, green as the first hour of dawn. This is the power of ferns in vertical design. They turn bare stone into breathing woodland. Ferns are not flashy. They're timeless. Species like the Boston fern or maidenhair adapt beautifully to vertical gardening. Their ability to thrive in low light, with only gentle humidity and rich soil, makes them ideal for walls that stay cool and quiet. Start simple. Mount small pockets or felt panels on your wall, or tuck soil into cracks between stones. Let the ferns find their own flow. Water regularly. Not too much, just enough to mimic the forest floor they remember. Over time, they'll soften every hard edge, turning structure into serenity. What you get isn't just greenery, it's movement. When the wind touches the wall, it dances. When the sun hides, the leaves remain gentle and still. Even on the grayest days, your wall feels alive. Pair your ferns with mosses for a dreamy underlayer, or plant tall varieties up top and trailing ones near the base. There's no rigid rule, just let them fall where they may. In this design, you're not decorating a wall. You're inviting a forest to stay. Each frond is a quiet guest, rustling stories from 1,000 years ago, in a language only the shade remembers. Let your vertical fern garden be that, an old song sung softly into stone. Not every shady garden must whisper. Some shade gardens sing. When you bring together the glowing petals of impatience and the kaleidoscopic leaves of coleus, you invite a different kind of energy, joyful, youthful, and full of color even where the sun rarely lingers. This vertical garden concept is perfect for patios, alleyway walls, or dim balconies where you crave life and light. Start with impatiens, the faithful bloomers of the shadowed world. Their flowers, coral, pink, salmon, red, burst like confetti from the wall, softening hard textures and brightening the gloom. Coleus, on the other hand, brings the drama. With foliage that ranges from lime to plum, sometimes all on a single leaf, these plants add dimension and artistic flair. Their leaves don't need to bloom to steal the show. And because they tolerate shade with ease, they're ideal for vertical design under tree canopies or north-facing garden corners. To build this wall, try mounting an old wooden pallet vertically. Line the slots with landscape fabric or recycled plastic bottles cut open into planters. Alternate coleus and impatiens in a checkerboard style or let them mingle freely. Either way, they'll grow into a living canvas of shape and color. Water daily in hot weather and trim the coleus if it gets leggy. Impatiens, too, may need a pinch now and then to stay bushy. But these are low-maintenance companions, generous in their beauty and forgiving to beginners. This is the wall that doesn't hide in shade. It glows from within. A reminder that even without full sun, gardens can dazzle. That color, when planted with care, can bloom in the most unlikely places. Your shaded stone wall. It's about to smile. Not every shady garden must whisper. Some shade gardens sing. When you bring together the glowing petals of impatiens and the kaleidoscopic leaves of coleus, you invite a different kind of energy, joyful, youthful, and full of color even where the sun rarely lingers. This vertical garden concept is perfect for patios, alleyway walls, or dim balconies where you crave life and light. Start with impatiens, the faithful bloomers of the shadowed world. Their flowers, coral, pink, salmon, red, burst like confetti from the wall, softening hard textures and brightening the gloom. Coleus, on the other hand, brings the drama. With foliage that ranges from lime to plum, sometimes all on a single leaf, these plants add dimension and artistic flair. Their leaves don't need to bloom to steal the show. And because they tolerate shade with ease, they're ideal for vertical design under tree canopies or north-facing garden corners. To build this wall, try mounting an old wooden pallet vertically. Line the slots with landscape fabric or recycled plastic bottles cut open into planters. Alternate coleus and impatiens in a checkerboard style or let them mingle freely. Either way, they'll grow into a living canvas of shape and color. Water daily in hot weather and trim the coleus if it gets leggy. Impatiens, too, may need a pinch now and then to stay bushy. But these are low-maintenance companions, generous in their beauty and forgiving to beginners. This is the wall that doesn't hide in shade. It glows from within. A reminder that even without full sun, gardens can dazzle. That color, when planted with care, can bloom in the most unlikely places. Your shaded stone wall. it's about to smile. Sometimes the most enchanting gardens feel like a memory. Soft, silver, and just out of reach. Brunnera brings that kind of mood to a vertical space. With its heart-shaped leaves dusted in a pale shimmer, like twilight light filtered through woodland mist, it doesn't just decorate your wall, it transforms it. Perfect for those seeking elegance in the shadows, Brunnera thrives in cool, shaded corners. And when grown vertically on a stone wall, its silvery foliage catches the faintest trace of daylight and reflects it softly back, like dew on a quiet morning. Spring brings an added gift. Tiny blue flowers that hover above the foliage like scattered forget-me-nots. They're brief but breathtaking, like nature's punctuation in a long, gentle sentence. This plant doesn't sprawl or overtake. Instead, it nestles. Use vertical pockets made of terracotta or repurposed wood. Position Brunnera near the middle of your wall, where the silver tones can anchor the eye. Above it you might add soft grasses. Below, shade-loving ground covers like lungwort or lamium. The result? A layered, thoughtful composition that feels like a hidden forest wall. Brunnera asks for moist soil and protection from harsh afternoon sun. Water deeply but not often. Feed it once in spring. Then let it grow slow and steady as the months go by. Unlike more flamboyant species, Brunnera is content to exist in quiet elegance. It invites you to pause, to look closer. And when you do, you'll see it's not just a plant, but a feeling. The hush of an overcast day, the calm of a stone bench, the memory of something soft and distant. It's not loud beauty, it's lasting beauty. Let your shaded wall hold that memory. Not every plant is meant to climb. Some are meant to fall. Lamium, often called dead nettle, is the soft-spoken weaver of shade gardens. It doesn't push or sprawl wildly. It simply drapes itself where gravity invites it, spilling in quiet elegance from wall pockets and planters. Its leaves are small but intricately painted, silvery centers bordered by soft greens, shaped like hearts touched with dew. They shimmer in dappled light, brightening the gloom of shaded corners with their quiet luminescence. And in spring or early summer, it offers more. Petite blossoms in pink, purple, or white, like scattered notes on a silver page. For vertical gardens, lamium is a natural spiller. Tuck it near the top of your wall, or in mid-level pockets, and let it trail. It fills empty air with life, softening the harsh lines of stone with gentle movement. Lamium doesn't demand much. Just moist, well-draining soil, a touch of morning sun, and afternoon shade. It thrives where other plants hesitate. Try pairing it with compact hostas or upright Brunnera for contrast in form and color. You might use old rain boots nailed to the wall, or rows of recycled tin cans painted in earthy tones. As long as there's a little soil and a place to grow, lamium will oblige. Elegant, effortless. This is the plant that turns vertical gardening into poetry. It doesn't bloom to impress. It exists to soften, to fill space with a gentle presence. And in doing so, it changes everything. Let it fall. Let it drape. Let your shaded wall become a living sigh. There's a certain grace that only curved lines can bring. And Solomon's seal brings them gently. Arching stems that bow like dancers, each one carrying tiny white bells that sway in the wind. In a vertical garden, this plant is elegance incarnate. It doesn't sprawl or hang, it leans. With poise. With stillness. The stems rise and bend, creating natural arcs that soften any vertical surface. And beneath each arch, flowers dangle in quiet procession. Small, creamy white, almost hidden, but unmistakably beautiful. Mount your Solomon's seal in tall, narrow containers placed at different heights along your stone wall. Allow them to lean into open space. Their shape will do the rest. You don't train this plant. It knows how to compose itself. It loves shade, cool roots, and moist soil. The roughness of a stone wall creates the perfect microclimate. Shelter, texture, and a way to frame its gentle form. Companion it with ferns for ground softness, or toad lilies for late-season intrigue. What's remarkable is the rhythm Solomon's seal brings. Grows slowly, quietly, but with a rhythm you can feel, especially when multiple stems sway in the same breeze. And as seasons turn, its foliage turns golden, leaving a graceful farewell until next spring. This is the plant for dreamers and patient hands. It won't give you explosions of color or dramatic displays, but it will transform your wall into something sculptural, something alive with movement and peace. Let your vertical garden breathe in arcs and shadows. Let Solomon's seal teach you the art of leaning without falling, of blooming without shouting. Some plants speak in color, others speak in form. But Japanese forest grass, Heuchera, speaks in movement. Its slender, arching leaves flow like a gentle stream down the side of a shaded stone wall. And when the breeze touches them, they shimmer and sway, like golden silk shifting through quiet hands. It's this graceful motion that makes them so perfect for vertical gardens, especially where stillness needs a soft counterbalance. This ornamental grass thrives in shade, preferring cool roots and indirect light. It comes in shades of fresh green, buttery gold, or even striped varieties that catch light like sun through morning mist. To incorporate it into your vertical design, plant it in containers positioned at mid or upper levels of your wall. Wooden ledges, ceramic troughs, or even upcycled rain gutters can cradle its roots. Leave space beneath each clump, so the blades can arch downward like a curtain of calm. It pairs beautifully with dark foliage, like Heuchera or ivy, or with stone surfaces that age gracefully. Unlike more rigid plants, Heuchera grass never feels static. Turns your garden into something that breathes, something that shifts with time and weather. Water it well during dry spells, especially in its first year, and it will reward you with low-maintenance, year-round presence. In fall, its leaves take on a burnished glow, like hay catching the last light of day. This isn't a plant that steals attention. It gently pulls your eye along its arc, down the wall, into the garden below. Teaches slowness, teaches grace. Let it soften your wall, let it sway through the shadows. Let your vertical garden move like memory through wind. Some plants don't just grow, they belong. English ivy is one of them. When it finds stone, it doesn't sit politely. It embraces, clings, and weaves itself into every crevice as if it were meant to be there all along. A wall becomes a canvas. A vertical garden becomes a story, written in green. Its tiny sculpted leaves create an evergreen blanket, thick and textured, softening harsh stone edges into something timeless and romantic. Ivy doesn't need sunlight to thrive, just patience and a surface to explore. Mount a vertical trellis or wire grid to your wall if you prefer a framed shape. Or let the ivy roam freely across natural stone, where it will attach with tiny rootlets and slowly cover the surface with quiet determination. This is the plant for people who like to watch things unfold over time. Growth may start slow, but once established, ivy becomes generous, providing dense greenery all year long, even in the cold months when other plants fade. It's incredibly low maintenance. Prune it where needed to guide its shape or prevent overgrowth. Water during dry spells, especially when young. But otherwise let it be. Ivy knows what it's doing. Pair it with seasonal bloomers like toad lily or bleeding heart for gentle accents. Or use it as a background for silverleaf plants like brunnera. English ivy doesn't shout or sparkle, hums, settles in. It turns ruins into reverence, and plain walls into something quietly magnificent. Let your wall grow old with ivy. Let it wear green like a memory that never fades. Not all flowers bloom in petals. Some bloom in leaves. Heuchera, known fondly as coral bells, is proof of that. With ruffled foliage in hues that rival autumn's best, burgundy, chartreuse, peach, plum, this shade-loving perennial is a painter's dream. And when used in vertical gardens, it transforms a simple wall into a living mural of tone and texture. This is a plant for those who want art and life to meet. Tuck them into wall-mounted pockets, wooden grids, or repurposed drawers. Their compact roots make them ideal for vertical spaces, while their bold colors offer contrast to the neutral hues of stone. Heuchera thrives in filtered light and loves cool, consistent moisture. Use rich soil and ensure good drainage. Avoid full sun in hot climates, which can wash out the vibrant colors. If you live in a colder region, many cultivars are evergreen, providing year-round interest. Try mixing cultivars. Deep wine red Palace purple beside lime citronelle, or amber-toned caramel beside near black obsidian. As the light shifts through the day, your wall will change too. Shadows deepening, colors softening, everything alive with subtle motion. In spring and summer, coral bells surprise with slender floral stalks, tiny bell-like blossoms dancing above the foliage like a delicate veil. But even without them, the leaves are the stars. This isn't a wall you glance at. It's a wall you pause for. A wall that tells you color doesn't need sun. And that shade has its own kind of brilliance. Let your vertical garden become a quiet celebration of color. Let the coral bells ring softly through the leaves. Some plants tell a love story. Bleeding heart dicentra is one of them. With its delicate arching stems and heart-shaped blossoms that drip like whispered emotions, it's a tender gesture from nature herself. And when placed on a shaded stone wall, it transforms the garden into something intimate and deeply poetic. This plant thrives in cool, moist shade. It begins its show in spring, when the air is still soft and the world is just awakening. Its blooms, soft pink or pure white, dangle like earrings on curved green stems. Each flower holds its own sorrowful beauty, as if mid-sigh, mid-melody. To feature bleeding heart in your vertical garden, use deep stone pockets or sturdy mounted planters with space for roots to stretch. The plant grows upward, then arches outward and downward, giving it a graceful, flowing shape that works beautifully on vertical surfaces. Pair it with ferns or low-mounding perennials to keep the surrounding soil cool. A layer of moss at the base will help hold in moisture and blend the whole wall into the woodland mood. Though it goes dormant in the heat of summer, don't see this as a flaw. It's simply a pause. Plan your garden so evergreen or late summer plants fill the space in its absence. But in spring it steals the heart. This is not a plant for rigid rows or uniform grids. Let it sway. Let it bend. Let it drape where it wants to. The story it tells isn't neat. It's tender, a little wild, and entirely unforgettable. In the quiet of the morning or after soft rain, when the world is hushed, you'll find it blooming, and you'll understand. Not all flowers cascade. Some rise like candles, casting a soft glow in the shade. Astilbe brings height, elegance, and gentle presence to vertical gardens. Its plume-like flowers, delicate yet bold, stand proudly even in the dimmest corners. In pale pinks, creamy whites, deep reds, and purples, they shimmer above lacy green foliage like a choir of whispers standing tall. This is the plant for structure, for rhythm, for turning a flat wall into a dynamic space. Mount tall planters or narrow crates at mid to low levels of your wall, filled with rich, moisture-retentive soil. Astilbe's roots appreciate cool conditions, so make sure they stay shaded, especially the base. The stone wall will help, naturally holding moisture and keeping the temperature steady. These perennials bloom in early to mid-summer, depending on the variety. Group different heights together. Shorter at the top, taller near the base, for a rising effect. Or let a few stand alone like sentinels among trailing companions like lamium or ivy. They're thirsty plants, so water them regularly. But the reward is worth it. A show of texture and form that elevates the entire wall. Unlike many vertical garden species, a stilbe doesn't just decorate, it anchors. It gives the eyes a place to rest, a vertical point to follow upward, like watching incense smoke rise into cool air. This is a plant that adds grace without needing attention. It doesn't spread or sprawl. It simply stands, feathered and still, holding space with quiet dignity. Let your vertical garden hold its breath. Let a stilbe rise through the hush, like poetry in bloom. In a garden where the light drips gently through leaves, where stone holds the cool breath of the earth, lungwort quietly stitches color and contrast into place. Known as pulmonaria, this shade-loving perennial offers two gifts: silvery spotted foliage that sparkles like frost in the shade, and a rare dual-tone bloom, pink and blue on the same stem, emerging just as winter sighs into spring. It's a plant that feels like a quilt, pieced together with care. Perfect for vertical gardens, it fills small pockets and shallow planters with its low-growing charm, nestling close to the wall and spreading in slow, leafy whispers. Use it to brighten the middle and lower levels of your stone wall. Its silver-speckled leaves reflect what little light the shade allows, adding subtle glow where darkness used to cling. And when it flowers, those soft bells in pastel clusters, it brings joy like a letter arriving out of season. Lungwort loves moisture and stillness. Place it in well-draining but humus-rich soil, and don't let it dry out. Shade is its sanctuary, and stone walls give it everything it needs: shelter, softness, and a cool touch at the roots. It partners well with brunnera, coral bells, and ferns, plants that speak the same quiet language. Together, they turn your vertical wall into a layered fabric of foliage and bloom. This isn't a showy garden moment. It's the calm before color takes over, the hush between seasons, the detail that makes everything else feel finished. Let your shaded wall carry this softness. Let lungwort patch its corners with peace and petals. And so, as the light fades behind the garden wall, and shadows stretch long across the stone, we leave you here, in a space you've helped shape, with patience, imagination, and gentle hands. Each plant, each pocket, each rusted hook or upcycled frame, becomes more than design, it becomes memory. A living moment stitched into the quiet fabric of your home. You don't need sprawling fields to grow something beautiful. Sometimes a shaded wall and a few willing leaves are enough. Let your garden unfold slowly. Let it breathe. Let it become a mirror of your calmest thoughts and softest mornings. And when the world feels loud, return to these textures, to the feathery curve of a fern, to the silver blush of brunnera, to the way ivy remembers how to climb, without ever being told. Here at VERDO Studio, we believe that creativity lives in the small things, in quiet corners, and in your own two hands. If today's journey brought you even a moment of stillness, or sparked a seed of inspiration for your own shaded space, we'd be honored to walk beside you again. So if your heart feels at home here, we gently invite you, click subscribe, and let's grow this space together. Thank you for spending this time with us. Until next time, may your roots be deep, and your days full of light.